Hi, welcome to our presentation on down ballot issues in the 2020 election.
Down ballot or down ticket races are relatively new terms used to describe any political election below the presidential election. Down ballot races are notorious for not really garnering much attention within the general public, but more recently, political parties have been working to publicize the significance of down ballot races. Down ballot races are very important in many different aspects of life, and the first is day to day effects. Many city councils approve city budgets or set property taxes, and state representatives have control over redistricting, which we will return to in a bit. Next is representation. Who you vote for on local and state levels can reflect your community. If communities do not vote at all levels, then there will be missing representation of that community on larger ones for representation. Third is weight. Votes in smaller pools carry much more weight than larger ones, and down ballot races are far easier to influence just through voting. Finally, many candidates on down ballots work their way to up ballots, so these races are great opportunities to find and support new candidates who have the potential to become up ballot candidates. Down ballot significance of 2020. Elected officials, primarily former President Barack Obama, have been advocating for increased voting in local and state elections because of gerrymandering's extreme effects of the 2010 outcomes. 2020 is a very important year for down ballot elections because it has been 10 years since the last redistricting, and either Republicans or Democrats could gain control over this year's redistricting, but also because of the presidential election. This happens once every 20 years, and it is up to the voters on both levels to determine the course of several years to come.
Several U.S. Senate seats were on the 2020 down ballot. Before this election, the Republicans had a 53 to 47 majority. If Joe Biden ends up winning the presidency, Democrats need to flip 4 seats in the Senate to win control. So I'm going to highlight 3 of the several Senate seats that the Democrats had the potential to flip. In Arizona, the special election was between Martha McSally and Mark Kelly. The winner of this election will serve the rest of late Senator John McCain's term until 2022. The growing population of young Latino voters leaned progressive, which helped Kelly win by 5.2 percentage points. In North Carolina, it was between Tom Tillis and Cal Cunningham. Spending surpassed $285 million, making this the most expensive Senate race in U.S. history. Tillis used the news of Cunningham's affair to depict his opponent as one who cannot be trusted in office. As of Thursday morning, the race is not called, but Tillis is currently leading by 1.8 percentage points. In Iowa, it was Joni Ernst versus Teresa Greenfield. Despite Ernst's efforts to boost the economy, she became much less popular with farmers, a very prominent demographic. Greenfield had successfully garnered some support from former Ernst supporters, but Ernst ultimately won the election by 6.6 percentage points. The unfinished results show Republicans with a 48 to 46 majority. Democrats only have a net 1 gain so far, so if Biden becomes president, he could have a harder time putting more progressive legislation into effect.
Although it's looking like Joe Biden is in the lead for the presidential election, a win for the Democrats, Republicans have made considerable advancements in the state Senate and state House races, where arguably the policies felt more on a daily level. So how did these elections turn out? In short, the Republicans did much better than the Democrats. Here's some highlights. Republicans kept the majority in Florida, despite the Democrats only needing to flip 4 state seats, reversing some Democratic gains made after the 2018 midterms. In other words, Florida became more solidly red after November 4th. There's a similar story to tell in Texas, as the Democrats only needed to flip 9, again, however, failing. In New Hampshire and Montana, the GOP flipped to a Republican governor and Senate majorities, which in both examples created what is called a trifecta, when a state is run by a governor and both legislative bodies of the same political party. Democrats were 2 seats shy of creating a trifecta in Minnesota, but again, failed. There are currently 23 Republican trifectas in the country and 15 Democratic. To put these state elections into some perspective, remember that the Democrats made large gains in the 2018 midterms when it comes to state governments, which should have set them up nicely for 2020. However, they've underperformed in many key areas. In conclusion, Republicans have successfully racked up representation and power through these state down ballot elections.
Now for some policies being voted on. Legal marijuana is on the ballot, with recreational use of the drug becoming more and more accepted across the country. South Dakota, Montana, Arizona, and New Jersey all voted on it on Tuesday, with success for the propositions in all except Montana. There is a darker side to this concerning the criminal status of people in jail for marijuana offenses and what to do with them now that the drug has been more widely accepted. America is also trying to confront some of its racist legacies through the vote in 2020, with Mississippi deciding to replace its old state flag, which contained the Confederate battle flag. This is a step towards rejection of the Confederacy, with Georgia having removed the symbol from its state flag in 2001. Along with this comes some criminal justice reform, with California voting on cash bail and Oklahoma voting on sentencing restrictions for nonviolent crimes. although both of these measures failed to pass. Several cities across the country that faced unrest earlier this year also voted on new citizens' oversight for police departments to hold police accountable for their actions. Thank you